Okay, we are live here. We are live on YouTube. I'll be sharing the link. Cool. All right, Michelle is here. Yeah, Anton. Hi. Okay, so we have one person on there. Cool. I always listen to the podcast when I am writing my notes. Cool. What kind of notes are you writing on there? Is it for class? I know some people have been like listening while they're at work or while they're at school or doing their Zoom meetings or whatever it is, which I find kind of, oh, thank you. Sorry, right here I'm talking to, here's Instagram, I have YouTube right here. Michelle's over on YouTube right now. Can you guys hear me over on YouTube? I know that Instagram is working. We have a microphone right here. Can you guys hear me? Here's my mic, Serene, nice to see you here. I think you're the same Serene from Discord. Turning up the volume, cool. Brett, nice to see you here. Okay. Hi, my mom. I'm my mom's son. My mom's son. I'm not. I think the narration of your voice really works on Instagram. Thank you, old school ice cream. I appreciate that. So we have a couple of things going on tonight. So if you know, like if you might have heard about this over on Twitter, Facebook, Discord. We had this event, like this mini series I've never done before. And I had a whole story set up. Everything was ready to go. And in the end, once I wrote the first part, it was called the Creepy Diaries. Right? And when I wrote the first part, I figured, hey, why don't we have people suggest where the story goes, right? Like where, like give some options, give some choices. Can you send the link? For YouTube, for the YouTube stream, if you go to scary, sorry, like there's somebody asking about the link. You go to scary.fm/live. It's going to lead you to like a live stream that actually isn't working. But then there's a click, like there's a link on there you can click, and then you can end up here where I am right now. So that's scary.fm/live. Anyway, so the Creepy Diaries is a story that follows little Sandra, and little Sandra's story is turned out to be kind of tragic, right? So the story goes that there's a series of diaries, like diary entries in a journal that is found, taking place October 25th, 1994. Now, if you've been following along, you know that little Sandra was introduced during the first entry, and we find some tragic news. Turns out that her father has died, and she has been going through questioning, not necessarily because they're making it her fault or anything, but just to make sure that she's okay. And also, it hints at certain things about social services going after everything. And she's being questioned by somebody at school saying, hey, do your parents do this? Do your parents do that? So obviously, she doesn't know what's going on. In the story, we don't really know her age, but we know she's young enough to be confused over the whole thing and not really understand it. In the second part, we discover that little Sandra is kind of having some issues with her dream journal. It turns out that whatever she was writing down to keep track of her dreams has been lost. The records are just gone. Essentially saying, like, the stuff that you wrote down may not have happened. You may not have dreamed it, and it leaves it up for just whatever it is that person wants to make up. Like if you fill in the blanks normally when you forget a dream or something, that's usually what happens. So the story goes that she eventually, discovers that the pages from her journal, are being torn apart, and she suspects that it's her mother because of the questioning that she was like the answers that she was giving to the person that was questioning her may have gotten her in trouble. So she assumes that the mom has something against her, maybe angry that she said the wrong thing, and she doesn't know. She doesn't know. But still, she has a suspicion that the mom is tearing out the pages from this journal. All along, by the way, all this time, It turns out that little Sandra has been ignored by her mother. So she won't talk to her, won't even feed her anymore. Like she just kind of goes along the kitchen on her own. Her friends at school also kind of turned against her. They just didn't know. She was just clueless as to what was happening. So her friends are kind of ignoring her. There's this part that was left out actually when she's actually waiting for the bus, the school bus, and the school bus just kind of goes past her, completely ignoring her. Some of the things from her room are missing. Some of her favorite things are now not there anymore. She suspects again it's her mother because who else could it be, right? Then we came all along. We have these stories, right, where we were having choices. People could choose what they wanted to happen. And one of these choices near the end was little Sandra steps down from her room, goes down to the living room in the morning, getting ready to go to school. She's waiting for her mom. However, her mom doesn't show up. She's completely by herself, clueless as to what's going on. And she doesn't hear the footsteps of her mom getting ready up in her room. So what she does is she starts going up the stairs, step by step. She's wondering what could be wrong. As she gets close to the bedroom, her mother's bedroom, she finds that the door is halfway open. What she does is a curious little girl steps forward, takes a peek, and that's where everybody had a choice. What did they want? What do you want to happen? And the choices were she finds her mother laying dead on the floor. The other option was there's a man with a knife standing before her. The other choice was that the room is completely empty. So those were the things that were out there where the story was going to go. Now there was a comment over on Facebook about this saying, "Hey, I hope the mom isn't dead because her father is already dead. So who's going to take care of her?" And then there was another, there were other comments that were saying, "Well, I was hoping that the room would be empty, right? Because that gives you an idea like, hey, solitude is pretty scary." Not sure if you agree with me, but to me, solitude or being just by yourself, especially as a little kid, very scary. However, the choice was made, and I got it in my inbox that we had to go with Sandra's mom was laying dead on the floor. Bit sinister, but I like that. It's okay. It was good. So what I did is I came up with the rest of the story to finalize everything, and the ending is interesting. At least where the story went. Um, Michelle on YouTube and Serena are saying R.I.P. for Sandra's mom. How are you guys over here? Just a quick little break. It's me, Steffi joined. Hi, how are you? Beth Padilla's here. Amber David 92 is here. So glad you're here on Instagram. Um, anyway, here on YouTube, yeah, we have same people. Brett Ping Knockout. Huh. Dude, you're so cool. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Thank you for YouTube. Anyway, so we came up with the rest of the story. I say we, but it's really just me who came up with the rest of the story. But it was led by people that were following along. Now I understand some of the stories. It's hard to find them where different channels just started on social media like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. However, for those of you who are old school and have been following the podcast for a while through the actual podcast, either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, you may have heard the announcements before. But as we're trying to get more into Twitter and everything, the stories were updated there, and we have launched our website scary.fm, for types of other content like this, including user submitted stories. So in case you have any, or you know of anyone who has one, even fiction can be uploaded to the website. And if you have a true scary story, I have a new podcast called True Scary Story. If you go to truescarystory.com, you can actually schedule a phone call directly with me. I won't be painted as a skeleton. I won't be a skull. However, We will have a phone call, record it, submit it. There's some stories on there in case you're interested in true scary stories like that. So as I was saying, we'll continue on with Sandra's story, right? So we left off at Sandra finds the mom laying dead on the floor. The entry would go something like, "Dear Diary." Okay. And it starts off with Sandra explaining what she discovered. After that, she explains how she walked down the stairs, confused, opened the door, and nothing, right? The story continues on with how she was found. She was found dead, and the mom was found dead, and she was packed up in a bag taken away by not a regular ambulance, including that means like not the red and white or whatever you think is like the normal colors that an ambulance would have. It was not one like that. It was actually a dark one with people not really trying to help, just kind of packing up the mom's body, taking her away. The entry ends with her seeing, basically going up to her empty room and just resting there all by herself because she hid during the whole time that everything was being collected, the body was being collected. Essentially, she just hid in the closet, stayed there. They left the house completely empty, and she's there laying in bed all by herself. Here's how the story ends up to this point, right? And what follows next is that Sandra. Now, this is the I guess the final part of the story of the diary entries. Um, Sandra goes downstairs by herself and finds herself something to eat. There's not much remaining in the empty place, in the empty house anymore. She goes up the stairs to her bedroom and her mom's bedroom. She sees everything that her mom used to have on there. She finds a note. She finds a note from the mother that was somehow missed by the rest of the people that did the closing investigation, basically trying to, the body collecting. She begins to read the note that was hidden, and she discovers that her mom has been suffering through a lot of pain. And as she reads, she finds that she's talking about death. She's basically grieving, and little Sandra assumes that she is talking about her dad's death. Something that Sandra thought was completely over already. It had been years. But as she reads on, she discovers that Sandra's mom had been mentioning another death. As Sandra keeps reading, her mouth just drops. She can't believe that her mother is mourning the death of her daughter. Now, her daughter, according to Sandra, she was the only daughter. And as she reads on, she finds out that Sandra's mom had found Sandra dead. In her grief, she started reading through Sandra's journal, processing them, reading them over and over again, obsessing over everything. She finally can't take it anymore and begins to rip out the pages. She goes into her room at night and sits on the bed. Sandra isn't there anymore. During the day, she steps in, she kind of walks around the room, gets the things, starts taking Sandra's things outside, trying to find some peace and not remember all the memories with Sandra. She takes her favorite toys, her board games, brings them downstairs and puts them in a box. She gets her blankets, her pillows, some of her clothes, her favorite jacket, puts it in a box, and sets it downstairs. Suddenly, she realizes she can't do this anymore. She goes upstairs to her room, and then in the middle of the night decides to go back into Sandra's room and sits on her bed at night. She looks around, unable to even think properly. She's just trying to say goodbye to the world once and for all. So she leaves the room, closes the door, steps into her own bedroom, takes a couple pills, and she dies. The next morning, Sandra, who isn't actually alive, comes downstairs, can't hear her mother, goes back upstairs, finds her dead. Nobody can see Sandra all this time. Nobody knows that she's even there. Her friends aren't really ignoring her, they just can't see her. Her mother hasn't been angry with her, just can't see her, can't hear her. Cassandra was never there. And that's how the story of the Creepy Diaries ends. It was kind of an interesting path that it took with your choices. So thank you everybody who voted for your choices on the stories. It was awesome. Like originally, the story wasn't supposed to be exactly like that, but it was like I did want to lead it into something tragic, into something a little. You might have noticed that there's a lot of children's stories or memories that you're trying to think back when you were a child, and this is exactly what this led into. So, thank you very much for that, for your votes, for figuring out where the story goes, and it was a really fun thing, at least for me to work on. It was really cool. Anyway, so let's see what else we got. Christina, oh, I know her. Hi, Kari. Kari's here. Kari. Um, I'm waving over here on Instagram Live in case you're on. There's the first time I use Instagram Live on this account, by the way, which is really cool. And on YouTube, okay, we got the. Oh, that was really good. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Let me see. We have a couple of things too. So, as we know, it's not quite Halloween yet. It is the day before, and I'm interested in finding out what you guys do for Halloween if you celebrate it. Um, I want to celebrate it. I always try to, dress up and do the whole thing, watch scary movies, listen to scary things out there. What are you guys working on? Like, what are you guys gonna do for Halloween? If there are any plans for you. Let me see. Who did your makeup? Who did the makeup? She's actually downstairs right now. It was spooky. Man. Let me see. Everybody say hi to Carla. I don't know if Carla's on Instagram or if she's on YouTube. Maybe she's on both. You see Carla on here? Carla did my makeup. Where is she? Where is she? She should say, type something on here so you can say. It was spooky. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let me see what people do. That's the best. Okay. Anybody do anything for Halloween? No celebration. There's Carla. See on the chat on Instagram. She's the one that did the makeup. So yeah, go DM her for makeup services. Anyway, so I'm not sure if you guys have heard about the. Oh, hold on, we have one comment on the Halloween thing. Ping knockout. I love making horror house and give candy to the kids brave enough to go through it, and the ones who don't as well. Serene says trick or treating and stuff. The usual. Cool. Let me see. Yoshi or Yashi says we don't celebrate Halloween in here, but I made one of my characters. It was my birthday on Halloween, so I might draw him. So like an actual character you made. Interesting. Carved pumpkins. I like that. I like that. See, I miss that kind of thing too, like carving pumpkins, just eating a bunch of candy until you get a stomach ache. Just the best, the best. And we've all heard about those. I'm not sure if there are any new like new stories, those urban legends about blades being found in apples and poison candy and things like that. Um, but there's new stuff out there that's coming up. Let me see. We celebrate Dia de los Muertos. Dia de los Muertos, yes. My family does too. We celebrate Dia de los Muertos in a bit different. It's a little different, especially in the United States, completely different than in Mexico. But Dia de los Muertos, very popular and a very cool, like traditional celebration. So I like that. So let's see. Whiskey Man 420 started following me. Cool. I didn't know we got notifications for that. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so I wanted to mention something. I'm not sure if you guys have heard the story of the lady in white. But the lady in white was actually in a recent episode, not the actual Lady in White. Obviously, we can't get a ghost in here, right? Maybe we can. But the Lady in White was a story that's kind of a urban legend, like a really well-known urban legend that has spread throughout, at least for me, like I've heard it throughout the United States. But lately, I've been hearing about all of these ghosts and stories of spirits of ghostly women. Now, this is what an episode of something called A Dark Memory. For the podcast that I have called A Dark Memory, that's where we publish a story about the Lady in White. So we have tales of people that have encountered a woman on the side of the road dressed in white. And there's various stories about it, right? We told a story about somebody who's driving down the road. They see her. She kind of waves them down. Car stops. She gets in the back seat. Doesn't make a noise. So doesn't make any, like, nobody would even hear that she's there, right? She climbs on in. You close the door. You ask her where she's going. She doesn't really say where she's going. So you're like, okay, awkward. Let's just go. So you go. Keep going straight. Look back. She's gone. So you pull over. You're confused. You don't know what's going on. And you turn around, look under the seat, behind the seat. Maybe she's hiding. Maybe she's trying to kill you. You just don't know. And you find a white rose in her place. There's just a white rose right there on the seat. And that's how the story goes, right? Now, there's various stories about that, and I'm interested in hearing if you have your own, like from wherever you are in your own state, your own country, your own culture, urban legends that are being passed down. You can always send me a message. Um, I even have WhatsApp too, like a WhatsApp for the podcast, in case you guys are interested in sending me a message. What we do is, I say we because there's a small team where you send an email if it's a suggestion for these types of like urban legends or other things like that. We investigate and look all that information and then put it in a nice little episode, short format, publish it on A Dark Memory. Let me see. I have a couple questions. Where are you originally from? I am from originally, I don't know what like originally means because I was born in California, but my parents are from Mexico, from the state of Sonora, um, along the Sea of Cortez, the Mar de Cortez in Mexico. On that, I don't know if you're familiar with what Mexico looks like in like on a map. It looks like a little boot right in between the heel or the pointy part and the rest of the shoe. There's a cool sea there, and that's where my family's from. Let me see, Marta. I'm saying, I'm wondering the two. Oh yeah, asking the same question. Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. By the way, Marta, appreciate that. Should look into La Zona del Silencio. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Hopefully, this thing gets recorded. Michelle says that she went to Mexico once a year. That's cool. And Serene says that was an epic episode. Oh yeah, the one about the lady in white, right? So that's what we were talking about. There's another story about the lady in white where there's a driver picks up a woman. This woman's kind of young and she's pretty, wearing white, gets in the seat, gets in the car, start driving. She says, "Hey," like points where she wants to go. So she points, she gets dropped off, and then something gets left behind in the car. Now, in some stories, this could be a scarf, could be something that she just belonged to her. I guess if it was a modern story, she would have forgotten her phone, something like that, right? Her wallet, something. She forgets. The driver finds it. He's like, "Oh man, I got to go back." So he goes back to the house, knocks on the door. He just knocks. Nobody's opening. All of a sudden, like the light turns on and an older woman comes out. She says, "Can I help you?" Yeah, somebody, I just dropped off a woman. She lives here. This is her scarf or her wallet or whatever it is. And I just want to give it back. She says, "Nobody else lives here. It's just me." So the guy's like, "Well, you know, I'm pretty sure I dropped someone off right here. Like this is the only house for miles. Like this is the place. can I just leave this with you? She's like, this isn't mine. I'm just the only person here. And then in the back of the room, like he kind of glances over and sees a portrait. Says, that's her. That's the woman I dropped off. So the older woman gets angry and says, hey, like that's kind of messed up. Now you shouldn't be joking like that. That's my daughter. She died a few years ago. Right. So that's where the story ends. But that's a story of the lady in white. That's another version of it. There's one that was on that same episode about a woman in black that was going after married men and this was documented in like a newspaper, like an actual newspaper, in Roanoke. Um, it just Roanoke has a lot of history, so I might, it'd be cool to have a. Michelle, sorry, I was laughing. Michelle said spicy on the thing. Yeah, but she goes after the woman was known for going after married men, and some of the theories were that either because what she would do is she would show up and follow men that were walking home late at night, either coming from the bar, from work, or whatever, and tempt them, right? Kind of follow them around, whisper in their ear, tap them, and then like tap their shoulders, trying to follow. And eventually, like she would just either disappear, something would happen, they wouldn't see her again. She was just a very mysterious woman. And some of the theories say that either she wanted to set them straight, like say, hey, go back to your wife, don't do this, or that she was some type of demon or something like that. There's a lot of things, but if you want to get like the full story on the ghostly women, I suggest you go listen to A Dark Memory in case you're not listening to that yet. But yeah, so that's the lady in white. Now there's a lot more versions of that, right? So I want to share some of those in a little bit. Let me look at some of the comments on here. Looking at YouTube Live. Let me see. Greetings from Argentina. Glenn, glad you're here. Wow, so cool that it's reaching you all the way over there. And okay, I can go to the bar. Come on. Okay. Love that episode. Cool. Good advertising process. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I need to push A Dark Memory, We have to get that going. No, actually, you know what? I actually had a conversation with somebody who found, I don't know if he's here, but they actually heard of A Dark Memory first, which was, some episodes of, I think, about the black-eyed children, and then they found Scary Story podcast. Yeah. So I was like, that's interesting, because normally it was the other way around. Normally people go from Scary Story podcast to the other ones. But in total, there's three. There's three shows. So I'm not sure if you guys know about that. But let me. I'm checking right now on the Instagram comments. Let's see. Ruby Tuesday is here. Cool. Glad you're here. The Edith is here. Lisa is here too. From El Salvador. Okay, so I'm gonna look at that one. The lady in black. So Cap B30 right now says on Instagram, yeah, that's the Siwanaba, or let me see, from El Salvador, the lady in black. See, I'm interested in finding that kind of story. So if you know legends like that, make sure you let me know. Send me an email, comment it on here. If hopefully this thing has a little saves the video. It might not, we don't know. But in case I don't get to it or I don't respond to it, send me an email so that I can get it. Serene says, I love true scary story. Yeah, dude, I think, you know what? I might give you a little behind the scenes on that show, True Scary Story, because it's a very interesting thing that happened with Scary Story podcast and True Scary Story. So I'll tell you about that. But anyway, I want to take a chance to let you guys know that everyone here who joined just now or joined earlier today has a completely free sticker, free of shipping, free of everything from the merch store. All you have to do is send a message so that I know you were here. The code word, what should we use as a code word so that I know that you were here? Something not too cheesy. Let me see if anybody has any ideas. How about if you just say, oh, Serene says strawberry. That's like the most let's just do rotten strawberry just to make it a little better. If you send me an email to either uh, any of the contact forms or scarystorypodcast.com, on truescarystory.com, or on adarkmemory.com, um, send a message. Let me know that you were in the live stream. If you're interested in getting your free sticker, there's other surprises in there too. I'm going to be randomly selecting some people for the Scary Story Podcast shirts, Scary.fm shirts, or mugs. Just whatever we get. So that you're going to get a coupon code on there. So remember, just go send me a message. You can either, if you want to know, like if you have access to send me an email now or a DM on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, just send me a message. Not anything public, right? Don't comment on it publicly. Rotten strawberry. You get your free sticker, and for a chance to get shirts. It is international, gets shipped everywhere, no shipping, no nothing, no strings attached, nothing. If you are under 18, though, somebody like an adult needs to get it for you because it asks for your address and all that stuff. So just be sure to get somebody, parent, guardian, friend, somebody who's older, get it for you so they can enter the details, like the shipment details and everything. Anyway, let me see. Look at some more comments. Okay, so there's also a promised Q&A, right? Like just a question answer. Now, I do have some common questions that I get all the time that I might just put on the website. But if you have questions now, just let me know. Let me see. Ruby Tuesday is asking, how do you submit a story? Okay, well, that's actually a question that I get. To submit a story, if it's a fiction story, like it's a fictional thing that you want me to narrate, or at least have the chance for it to be narrated, because I do get a few of them. It'll be published on scary.fm. So that's the website where it goes. It doesn't end up on the podcast, and I've explained this a couple of times from like on Discord, but essentially it's just that I'm on an ad contract, like an advertisement contract, and part of the agreement right now is I'm submitting the stories that I write myself onto the show. But if you do have a story, like a true story, something that happened to you, and you want to record it on a call with me, what you can do is send me a message by going to truescarystory.com. So true scary story. Also, if you send a message anywhere, literally we have, like, if you send me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I'll get to it. I'll just find it. It just, it filters its way, and I get to it. It might take me a couple days sometimes, but mostly if you have ever messaged me, you know that I get it. Boom, I reply. Sometimes it might be on late at night, early in the morning, but it'll get to you. Let me see. Let me see. The Yeet is saying, "I love this, but I have bad signal." Oh man, trying to get some signal. Yeah, that's a common issue. But yeah, so Ruby, to submit a story, you can just go to, if it's a fictional story, again, you can go to Scary Story Podcast. If it's a true story you want to record with me, like phone call, video call, just go to truescarystory.com or just reach me anywhere. Oscar, hey, Oscar's here. I'm not sure if it's the same Oscar. If it's Oscar from Discord, if it's Oscar that I've talked to you before, still, either way, even if you're not, like, super glad you're here. And how I'm doing today, I'm doing really good, really well. Thank you. I've been excited about doing a live stream for a while now. Like, it's just trying to get into it. So if you have ideas, things you want to see on the show, things you want to talk about, anything like that, let me know. Always up for it. Okay, Oscar, that is you. Cool. Oscar, I'm not sure if you're the same Oscar as this one, but are you that Oscar that if like the upload for a podcast takes a little while, like to propagate, like you send me a message, like I kind of have, because there's an Oscar that gives me a heads up when I need to double check some of these uploads. So that's you. Thank you for doing that. Let me see. The brain of Brina, or Brina, like Sabrina, I would guess. What are your favorite horror podcasts? Let me see. So if I was to share with you some of the stuff that I like, they would sound a lot like single storyteller narrations, right? So kind of like what I do. But I used to really like a podcast called No Sleep, but it was when they had different narrators. Like it was a different system back then, and they stemmed off of a forum like back in the day. Um, we used to do stories. Like I used to hop in and read stories that people would post. Like they would make them up. You would read them, and they had that factor of this might be real. Like it might be a real story. So they started putting these stories on a podcast called No Sleep. And one of my favorites is the old school, like as in old No Sleep podcast. If you go to their website, there's one of my favorite stories is called Pen Pal. It's a three-part story. It's just read out loud. If you want to read it, you can also read it because they turned it into a book. Um, I think his name might be Nick Auerbach or something. I'm not sure if it's Nick. His last name is Auerbach or Auerbach, something like that. But yeah, the story is called Pen Pal. If you just Google Pen Pal No Sleep, you find one of the coolest stories I think that got me into stories. Oh yeah, some of you have heard of them. That's awesome. Let me see. Brett, do you have a favorite story you've told via podcast? Um, I mean, the my one of my favorites of all time, I think it would be probably one of the most hated ones. It's called the I know what's hiding in the box. It's called I know what's hiding in the box. And just a heads up, if you're going to sleep, don't listen to it. Like if you're like dozing off, don't listen to that story. And the reason why I like it, and this has been a thing of discussion often, is that the story itself is it was toned down from the original version. So the original version was a lot darker, had a lot more elements that were not acceptable for like a public pod, like a public like on YouTube. YouTube would kick me out for talking about that. But I like that, and the original story is very like it's dark. I mean, it doesn't have like I don't want to say gore or anything like that, but it's like it involves demons, it involves addiction, it involves just depression. Like there's a lot of things that are just oof. But it was toned down and it turned very confusing. That was one of my favorite stories. Let me see. Serene says, "Thank you for actually taking the time to read narrate the basement door." Oh, yeah, Serene, that was a cool story. Oh, by the way, if you want to listen to user submitted stories, if you go to scary.fm, not scary.com, I don't know what that is, but scary.fm, like a radio FM, you can find, if you click on posts on there, you can find user submitted stories. We have a few on there, and some of them are actually here. Serene has a story on there called The Basement Door, and that was narrated by me on there and uploaded. I have several good ones on there too. I mean, they're all good. I like all I like listening to stories. Let me see. Yes, no sleep. Any other podcasts that I like? You know, I used to listen to. If you like history, I like listening to Lore. It's called Lore, Lore podcast. Really good. But it is, it's history. So if you're not into history, you're gonna find it a little bit, I don't know, boring, if anything. Also, I used to like Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. That was good. Some stories are better than others. If you do, you can check out one called something about the clown. If anybody remembers that story, please let me know. Is it Pin the Clown? Or no, Crown the Clown. Check out Crown the Clown, like crown, like a king, like a crown, the clown, like a clown. But yeah, like check out that story. You can find it on YouTube too. Crown the Clown from Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. I think that's the podcast name. I never understood that story. Oh, the Edis. Never understood the story of I know what's hiding in the box. Yeah, you know what? If you guys want, I can just upload the new version, like the full thing. It'll be slightly toned down. Like it'll have the dark elements in it, like the full original story. So yeah, we might do that. Let me see. Do you have one that scared you the most? Like a story that scared me the most? Um, I think one of the stories that I've heard that scared me, like actual scared, is on True Scary Story. Like I'm not sure if I've told you guys, but normally for True Scary Story, what I do is I get on a call, somebody, we either look at each other on the cameras. They look at me, I look at them, they talk, or we can just do audio only, right? And then I just sit there and I just listen to them tell me their story. And this recent one is about goblins. Now, there's traditions out there, right, that talk about goblins as a real, very real thing, right? So if you know about that, let me know too. Like, I want to know your stories, your experience with goblins. There's a story called Dark Hats that I wrote because the original story scared me, and I wrote Dark Hats for Scary Story Podcast. And then soon after, somebody called in a story for True Scary Story about goblins, and this story is called The Little Man. So if you're into that kind of thing, this is an actual person telling you their experience in a house that has been occupied by a goblin. Like in Spanish, we know them as duendes, like a little person that just something off about the person, right? So, oh yeah, Marta has heard has heard it. Cool, I appreciate that. It was creepy. Like when I heard it, I was creeped out by it. And there's more stories. By the way, this is just the last one that's been published. I have like an ongoing thing, so people have been calling in with their stories. And I heard a recent one about a house, um, and a story about a basement actually. So that one's going to be coming up soon. But there's another one. The next one that's coming up this week is kind of a not a nice story. It's still creepy, but it's a ghost that actually ended up helping somebody. So we'll see that. Martha saying, so you've always been into scary stories. I have always been into scary stories. Some of my early books that I started reading were Goosebumps. I don't know if you guys have heard of Goosebumps by R.L. Stein. Um, and the Alvin Schwartz ones, which are scary stories to tell in the dark. Now, I was like, I used to check out these books from the library back when there were a lot of people and going to libraries and stuff. But I would get the first book, go through it, second one, go through it. When it came out on, I'm not sure where you guys are from, but where I went to school, we used to get these catalogs that said like they were from Scholastic, like book catalogs, and you would choose what books you wanted, and then you would pay, and they would send you the books like they were arrived to school. Let me see. I'll try these here. Just waving at somebody here on the live. Anyway, so they would arrive, and I would just devour those books. Like I would just read them over and over again. And I was so lucky. Like I got the collection of 3 books, and it came along with a little night light. Like it was like a battery operated flashlight thing that you could attach to the book and just read it at night. And it was the best thing ever. Like the best thing ever. And I loved it. I loved it. It was cool. And I used to read under the covers. I used to wait until nighttime to read the stories. But yeah, anything that had to do with ghosts, anything that had to do with even some like shorter story books, I used to like Stephen King. I could never get into Stephen King books when I was little. That came once I got older. So Stephen King is still cool, but when I was younger, I really wanted to read Stephen King books, but it was just I couldn't understand them. It just didn't really make sense. Let me look at some more of the comments. I love the episode from Spotify. The apparition in my dorm room. Oh, Glenn is mentioning the apparition in my dorm room. I like that story too. Well, I like all the stories, but the apparition in my dorm room was based on like how sometimes there's unfortunate events, right? When people move into college dorms and stuff, people die, and it was just a story that I imagined, um, loosely based on experience with like an apparition around a room, and like rumors of forums, people that talk about stuff that goes on. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened. See, I have a collection on my bookshelf. Oh, I would love to see what kind of books you have about horror stories. Let me see. Serene's also asking, which podcast do you enjoy narrating the most? The most is Scary Story Podcast. Um, yeah, it's awesome. Like it's like I like reading the stories, storytelling in general. I've always been a fan of. I feel like everybody should be telling stories, like in their own, like whatever stories that they want. They don't have to be scary, but I think everybody has a certain, like, we all have like a duty to tell stories, and I think scary story podcast for me gives me that chance to actually read out loud. Let me see. I could probably guess that. Yes. Serene saying, yeah, because I love that thing. And if you can actually tell, because Scary Story Podcast used to have one story, like just one. Then it turned into two stories with like an ad in between. Then now it's three stories per episode that come out. So I'm writing all these things, right? Like I'm just writing them like all the time. Like I'm always thinking of ideas. I see something, idea. Like my phone is filled with just ideas of scary stories all the time. So that's kind of how it works. Let me see. I know why goblins low key terrify me. Yeah, I think goblins are like just terrifying. I think it's just the stories that people really like. They swear by. They say that these are true. These are just true things, right? And they will swear by it. They'll bet money on it. They'll bet their lives on it that they've seen it. The very first story on Scary Story Podcast is based on a true story, and it's about goblins. Actually, it's a true story. It's my story. It's called "The Creatures from the Hills." So check that out. It's my story. Um, it's what happened. Somebody approached me, like we were lost, and somebody said, "Yeah, like be careful about the goblins." You can also like imagine them. There's people that say that they're real. Michelle saying that the favorite is her favorite, or his favorite, or their favorite, is the Faceless. Yeah, the Faceless was I get stats on Spotify, like whenever an episode gets downloaded more than usual, and the Faceless was one of them. It was one of those stories that just started getting downloaded over and over and over again. Let me see. Yeah, me too. R.L. Stein's a legend. Yes. Let me see what else we got on here. The Duendes stories are my favorites. I've heard of Duendes through a radio show that got picked up in Southern California. It's called La Mano Peluda, which translates to the hairy hand. And it used to, I think that the actual radio show broadcasts in Mexico for Mexico. But being in Southern California, since you're so close to it, I would get the signal, right? So I would listen to it. It would come out 10 at night. You just listen to these stories. And there was one story about a doll that just creeped me out. Somebody had a doll that they would swear would walk and talk and do everything. And one time, witnesses saw the doll walking on her own. So that story really scared me. It got me, and at the time, people used to buy a lot of dolls. Girls used to like that. Boys used to like buying dolls. Like it was just like Barbie had come out with a huge, like a life size doll. I'm not sure if you have heard of it. That thing would creep me out completely. And but yeah, that's kind of how it goes. So now I just quickly want to share with you the story of Scary Story Podcast and where it came from, right? Like, so a lot of people don't know this, and I think you guys will be the only ones that actually know the story. But a Scary Story Podcast was supposed to be a user submitted stories show. So in order to start and get the ball rolling, I wrote down my own like testimonials, my own stories, wrote them, and I waited for people to send me stories. And nobody sent a story. Like it was just like crickets, right? And I was like, oh man. But by the way, this is just like 10 stories that I uploaded, or 12, something like that. And I just left it. But then one day I got an email. There was just a message saying, hey, when does the next story come out? I just kind of looked at it, and I don't think I ever replied. So sorry, person who emailed me. I was just like, you know, like nobody sent me stories. And so like eventually I just kind of gave up on it, and I kept seeing the show getting downloaded, like the stories just getting downloaded and downloaded over and over. And I got reviews that were saying the stories are good, but when do more stories come out? Then I got more emails saying more, more, more. Like a bit aggressive. But yeah, they were just saying, more like, when's the next stories? Like, you need to write more, or make them longer, or stuff like that. And then I just wrote some more, uploaded them, and I just kept getting the same response. So that's how Scary Story Podcast started. But it was intended to be a true scary story. Like, people would send me stories and I read them. And that's what True Scary Story turned out to be. So now there's a show where people actually tell their own stories, and I hope that we can keep that going. Like, as long as the stories keep coming in, if you know of anybody who does that, then send them my way. Like, I want to share their stories. We've had stories of, there's actually a potential doppelganger story on there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's where it came from. That's where the story came from. Came from. I love the dollhouse story. Yeah. Oh, dollhouse. The dollhouse. Yeah. All doll stories for me creep me out. And also, there's one called Mannequin. I don't know if you guys have heard of Mannequin. Mannequin is a story based on a real mannequin that actually we had, and we dressed up to try to attract people to a restaurant. But in the end, it ended up creeping them out. So you have to remove it. You have to get rid of it. And that's based on a real thing. I was looking through my pictures to see if I found a picture of the actual mannequin, but I'll have to keep looking. I'm pretty sure I have a picture of it somewhere. But anyway, let me see more of the comments. Oh god, there's a show called Hold on. There is a show called La Hora Marcada. Was creepy. Is that show still around? Old school ice cream. If you're still here, um, let me know if that show's still around. Maybe La Hora Marcada. I think I might have heard of it. Might have heard of it. Maybe. Let me see. I wonder how many people feel comfortable sharing. Yeah, you know what? That's a struggle. Getting people to share their own stories, to actually tell it, is a struggle. Like, some people just want to share their story but don't want to actually tell it, like, with their voice. So they want let me see. I wonder why this thing was sorry, that was a comment that was on moderation, but it wasn't anything bad. Mannequins is misspelled, but I mean, it's nothing bad. Um anyway, so yeah, like, there's a ton of stories like that too, that, dealing with dolls and stuff like that work. They just always creep people out, like, always. Okay, now I joined the YouTube side. Oh, Oscar's here on YouTube. Cool. Went from Instagram to YouTube. And welcome, AO Verton 2009, who just joined. Glad you're here. But yeah, so remember, if you want to get your free sticker, send me a message. Send me a message. DM, nothing public, so don't comment on anything. Just send me a message, either DM through the contact forms, or via email with hello at whatever, either scarystorypodcast.com, truescarystory.com. The email that I look at most is hello at scary.fm. Let me know the code word. Remember, is rotten strawberry. Rotten strawberry. Send it to me. You get your free stuff. There is no shipment costs. There is nothing like that. But remember, if you are under 18, you need to get an adult or guardian to put in the information for you, because there's a shipment, address and everything. And the site to get it, I'll send you the link to it. It's on scary.fm/shop. But I'll send that to you once I get an email or DM or something like that. And give some time, by the way. Give me some time, because I have to sort through them. And tomorrow I'll have it. By Monday morning, you should have it. But tomorrow I'll get all the links out, so you guys can have your stuff with the coupon code. Just remember, you get that anywhere in the world. By the way, gets sent anywhere, as long as you have an address where a mail delivery person can send it. Like, if you have a place like that, perfect. It'll work. Let me see. Read another comment. Personally enjoy the way. Oh, okay. So enjoy the way you tell them, though. Not everyone has a voice that's inviting to listen to. Hey, thank you. Old school. Thank you. Yeah. When there's some people obviously hate on the voice. It's just a matter of taste. Like, I mean, if I listen to something that I don't like listening to, like somebody, I'll just skip it. I won't really say anything. Some people, though, will take time out of their day to say, "Hey, I really hate your voice. Go die," or something. And it's I mean, now it's funny. When I first started, it was like, "Oh man, like that sucks." But you know, you get over it. You get over it pretty quickly. Let me see. I love your voice. Thank you. Is there a sticker for specific people? The sticker is just for people who showed up to the live stream to here either on YouTube or on Instagram. If you showed up as a thank you just for being here, you get a sticker. However, there is also a an option where randomly selected people might get a coupon code for a shirt in case you don't want a sticker, or a mug in case you don't want a shirt or something. Like you might get a choice on there. But it will be you get your coupon, put it on the merch shop. It should just come out to zero. Like you should just get something sent straight to you, just as a thank you and kind of a celebration thing here for as like the trick or treat. That's kind of like a treat that you guys get. The sticker, you get a choice of either a dark memory sticker or a scary story podcast sticker. Shirts, there's a scary story podcast shirt that's kind of popular, like as in is the most common one. But there's two versions of it. Make sure you get the size right. Make sure you get everything right because I can't process returns. Like those things get sent straight from the people that print it for you. So I don't know where you would send it for a return. Like it would just so make sure you have that right. And if it's too if you're not sure, make sure you pick a size larger. You can always shrink it down. You can always fix it. But if it's too small, I don't know how you would stretch that. But yeah, so let me see. So yeah, that's a thank you to you guys for checking out the podcast, for checking out the shows, and for being here today. So I really appreciate you guys showing up. So that kind of wraps up. It's been here for an hour, but that wraps up the stream for now. If there's something that you want me to do, want me to talk about, let me know right now so that I can take care of it, say something. If you have any questions, pressing questions, a story you have to tell or something, um, anything like that, let me know. Let me see. I have a question here. Cool. Oh yeah, the Yeet is, did you ever have a different podcast or a different website for travel? Yes. Yes. The Yeetus. Journeyfeed.com is actually my website for travel, digital nomads. Journeyfeed podcast was another show that I had. There's some in Spanish that I've had. But yeah, there's been a it's been a journey. Podcasting has been a thing. Are any of you interested in podcasting or learning about it or have questions about it? Just wondering. Mystical Things, thank you for sharing. Yeah, you're welcome. Mystical Things. Like the name. I like the name. And Martha, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments too, also on Instagram and everywhere. It means a lot. It means a lot because usually podcast is just a one-way thing, right? Like I tell a story and then I don't. It's not like a YouTube video where you can just head to the comments, right? A podcast is like somebody listens to you and that's it. Let me see. The Yeezus, I found it on accident looking for you. Yes, actually have it on my website too. A big passion of mine is like food and travel. So Journey Feed is going to be taking a turn into like kind of like a travel blog type of thing, like with food. So it's basically like food pictures, tasting, stuff like that. Um, I actually debated pasting a picture that I took at a recent barbecue workshop that I attended because some people are vegetarian. They might I don't know. Just kind of hesitated on that. Yoshi, no, thank you. Is it Yoshi or Yoshi? Yoshi. Thank you for showing up on here. Oh, and Edgar, the website, it's scary.fm. If you go to scarystorypodcast.com, you can actually find a link to the shop. It'll lead you straight to scary.fm. So it's not scary.com, it's scary.fm. It'll send you to the merch shop in case you want to get anything there. We have shirts, mugs, stickers. If you have anything that you want to see on there, I was thinking adding voodoo dolls. Do you guys think that's too much? Because there's people that make voodoo dolls, and I was like, hey, that might be interesting. Instead of like Ouija boards and things like that. We don't get too dark, but um, there's been, I don't know, just an idea that I had. I've never actually played with the board, never done anything like that, but um, just kind of thought it would be an interesting idea. Oscar, the code word is rotten 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 strawberry. So rotten strawberry. Send me a message with rotten strawberry. Say that you were here. Say that you were here. If you are a parent with kids watching and there's two of them or more, let me know. But it needs to be true. Like, don't lie about it. Just in case, because it's one per household, but one per address. But just let me know. If I believe you, will send you stuff, or just as a thank you, as a the treat here, instead of tricking you. Let me see. I wish I could have the guts to actually podcast. Old school ice cream. If you want a podcast, I can help you podcast. So let me know. Send me a message. Um, because it's a lot of people are just scared of their own voice, and it just, you know, it's just you. Like, everybody hates their own voice, or just doesn't really like their own voice. Just remember trying to record a voicemail and what that sounds like, right? It's just like not really cool. Serene's asking, does Discord count for the message? Yeah, if you send me a DM, like send me a message on Discord, like not on the public thing, like not on the thing. Oh yeah, by the way, if you guys are interested too, we have the group on Discord. In case you aren't on there yet, group on Discord. We have the Facebook group. Also, we have a group on Facebook. But yeah, follow me on there if you want. Follow the show on there. Scary Story is the name of it. But if you send me a message, always get back to you. I can lead you to the right way on there. And yes, Ruby, thank you, and happy Halloween to you also. Old school, thank you for email. I'll reply. I'll reply. Cool. But yeah, if you have interest in podcasting, let me know, because I've got a couple of questions about it, and I'm interested in teaching in case you wanted to. Beginners, or if you already have a show, you want to make it grow, looking for ways for that too. And let me see, Oscar, with dolls, you create new content for scary stories. Yeah, actually, there's if you're interested, I thought about selling, getting some people to make dolls to sell on the podcast. I don't know why, but I've always, like, whenever I see a doll that's like a rag doll, cloth doll, like, I'm interested. Like, I want to, like, see it. I want to, like, just put it on display. I find it pretty creepy. Um, Dolls are in general pretty creepy. I don't know if you're like, your moms are like this too, but my mom um has dolls around the house, just like on the cabinets, like on little display glass cases. I never understood why, but they're there. Also, clowns. We used to have pictures of clowns. Imagine that, as a kid, because supposedly they were cool to look at. They were just creepy. But yeah. Anyway, so happy Halloween to all of you. I really hope to stay in touch. I hope we can do this again. If you are interested in getting me to do this kind of thing, or actually real storytelling, like not with the dress up, not with the makeup, um, if you want, like, campfire style, we can do that. But just let me know, because, like I said, podcasting is a very one-way thing. I don't actually get to hear what you guys are saying unless you send me a message. You have to tell me, like, you have to comment, you have to DM me, whatever you need to do with ideas. Also on Patreon, people have sent me questions about it, about what we do. Like, how can I get stories out there, like, live, or read them out loud? Let me see. Mystical Thing is saying I should do live storytelling. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. That's actually an idea Carla had also. The one I don't know if she's here. I can't really see behind the camera. But yeah, it's an idea that I've had also. Like, it's might be a cool idea to just have a night, just sit down, read a story, or just tell a story, or have other people tell a story, or something like that. Would be really cool. Herb Haunt 7699. Thank you for your comment, and thank you for checking out the podcasts too. I know podcasts are kind of a new thing, right? Like, they're kind of a new, like, not a lot of people have heard of it, like, of podcasts, and how to do it, like how to start one, or how to listen to one, or what apps do you listen on. And some people are just like, what is that? But I think people are catching on, so that's good. So spread the word. Make sure you share the show, share stuff like that, and I'd be happy. I'd be happy to welcome new people into our little group that we have here. Let me see. Would you take ideas for future stories if we DM you? Yeah, if you have an idea for a story, yes, definitely. Like, that would be. I mean, I'm always looking for ideas. But an idea might make it to a story, might not make it to a story. Either way, like if I come up with something, either a tweet or something, I'll let you know if it ever gets published and where. So several things have come from that, from ideas that people send me. Where am I from? Okay, so Mystical Things asking where I'm from. I am from California, Southern California. I was born in the lower area, like the Los Angeles, Long Beach, that little area. My parents are from Mexico, from Sonora, from Mexico. So that's where my accent comes from, from Mexico. I also speak Spanish. In case you're interested in Spanish podcasts, launching these three shows in Spanish. So with me, like it'll be my voice on there, narrating. We should do a gathering on a campfire or something. Yes, and you know what? I don't know if you guys have heard, but people are doing podcast lives, as in like not live with the camera, but live like in person. You show up to like a coffee shop or a small auditorium, classroom, whatever, and you get to meet directly with the podcaster. I think that would be so cool. There's a lot of listeners from Austin, Texas, Los Angeles, California, New York. So if anything, those places might be it. Or we could just go international here. We'll see how far we can take it. That would be really cool. That would be really cool to just show up somewhere and just, hey, let's just tell stories. Let's just hang out. Let's just talk about scary things. And but yeah, that's the thing that's been going on. Lore podcast, the podcast that I mentioned earlier, does that. But yeah, someone asked me if I had noticed the duendes on your property, on your on our property. I thought you were saying like on your property, Marta. But wow, wait, what? So there you have duendes in your property. Interesting. It's very. See, that's creepy. Marta, if you have a story to tell, like that, it'd be really cool to have you on to tell a story on that. That'd be really cool. Really, really cool. Let me see. We got more comments. Hello from the other side of the world. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's so cool. It's so cool. I'm very grateful for all that. People listening from around the world. Like it's harder for me to grasp sometimes. Like I have a tough time like understanding that I'm in a certain place and somebody in India or somebody in Australia is listening, and it's beyond me. Like it's just I get full of like gratitude. Like I'm just immensely like just grateful for everybody who checks out the stories. It really means a lot when I say that. I mean it. Like it means a lot to me when people listen to the stories, because it's like, wow, you heard it. Thank you. Like you dedicated some time out of your day to listen to a story. So that's really cool. Really cool to me. Let me see. Yeah, that would be cool. Sucks that I'm in Chicago. Oh, yeah. Edgar from Chicago. Cool. Well, hey, Michelle in Texas. Yeah, there's a lot of listeners in Austin, Dallas. There's a little cluster of people that listen to in Texas, Pennsylvania. So I can agree with you. I should have a ton of listeners in India. Yeah, there's a lot of listeners in India. Like I like that. That'd be cool to visit someday, to visit India, and it's actually been ranking in Spotify in the top 200 in India. So it's amazing. A Dark Memory is actually being listened to more in India now. That's pretty cool. Let me see what else we got. Oh, Martha was saying something. We used to live in an old house in the country. Oh, see, like that's a creepy setting. Like right there, you're asking for something creepy to happen. Like old houses in the country. Actually, there's a story coming up about that, about a house with kind of secluded, out and away from other houses, that has a creepy thing. It's actually going to be on True Scary Story, told directly by Sean, a person who called in. Let me see. Wasn't a Dark Memory in 38th place in India? I think at one point, Serene's asking, wasn't a Dark Memory, the podcast, in 38th place in India? And I'm pretty sure it was up there. Like it was pretty high. Maybe not 38th. Might have been. I don't know. But it was in the top 100, maybe top 60 or something, in India. So that's really cool. And right now, by the way, you guys, like Scary Story podcast is in top 35 in the US. So we're doing all right. We're doing good. We're doing good. Let's just keep listening, keep sharing. Might get it to cross into the 20s. But yeah, imagine that top 35 in the United States. Really cool. Super happy about that. Should be first. Yeah, it should be first. Just kidding. Thank you. Um, I got any La Llorona stories? Oh, you know what? In Edgar's asking if there's any La Llorona stories. There's actually one story on La Llorona on that podcast, A Dark Memory. You want to look it up. It was researched by Madeline Guerra. Maddie's not here tonight, but she usually helps out with the research for A Dark Memory. But yeah, if you look it up, A Dark Memory, a darkmemory.com, or search for A Dark Memory, the podcast, on any podcast player. La Llorona, there's an episode on La Llorona. It's really cool. Have you ever got stories from your family in Mexico or old legends? Yes, a lot. And if you have if you know of anybody in Spanish who speaks Spanish who wants to tell a story, I'm playing around with the idea to get to record them in Spanish directly and just publish like that, through another, obviously it'll be a separate podcast, but it would be really cool because I find them personally creepier in Spanish, just because people Spanish storytellers are very passionate when they say it, and yeah, they really reel you in. So that's what we're gonna to that would be really cool to have, Spanish stories. So I might just get that started pretty soon, just because we have a new season coming up. New seasons basically start every January 1st, like after the year ends. Have a new season of the stories. That's how we're gonna go. We're not gonna stop and take a break or anything like that. So hold me accountable to that. Never take a break. Just keep going. Weeklies. Let me see. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Cool. Yeah, no, I've been saying goodbye for a while, but but yeah, pretty much the stream is done. Like now I'm just, talking with you guys. If you guys are welcome to hang out or leave or whatever. Just remember to send me a message about the sticker so you can get it sent straight to you from the factory of stickers, wherever they print them. Let me see. Do you have any plans for stories from Asia? Um, we found a story. Let me see. Yoshi is asking about if we have any stories from Asia. Now, for a dark memory, we were looking at a couple. I found a few. One of them that I found really interesting, but there's actually a lot of information on there about it, is the ghosts after the tsunami in Japan. That's one of them. There's another one about a doll that is being housed in a temple somewhere in Asia. I'm not sure where. There's also an Indian story about I'm not sure if I pronounced it right, but the Burari deaths. If anybody's from India, you can correct me or phonetically spell it out for me. Um, but yeah, like those are pretty creepy stories that we found. But if you have stories about Asia, like in Asia, take place there, even in Indonesia, where you're from, send them my way. Send them my way so we can look it up. Always, try to look for things that other people haven't necessarily heard about. But also, so we also share some of the favorites on there. Can you have more scary doll stories? Yes. And you know what I like about scary doll stories? That they can have the jingles, like the music box effect that I love. So doll stories just give that perfect melancholic feel, childhood memory, perfect for a music box. And wherever I can find space for a music box, I'll add it for sure on there. And Serene says, "Oh, probably the Barari deaths. Forget how to spell it. Yeah, it was actually a really sad case. Yeah, a lot of people died, and it was very mysterious. Like it's nobody really knows. I mean, people have now. I think they know why or who caused it, but it's strange. It's a strange death story. So death is always scary on its own. Let me see. Love the intro outro to Scary Story Pod. Yeah. And you know what? I try not to change it, but we're gonna get a new change. I always try to get it a little bit better with seasons because people know what to expect with the new season. But I guarantee that the whatever the new jingle is or whatever it comes out with, it'll just it'll be good. Like I promise, we're moving up. Like we won't go worse on it. Or if it sounds worse, it'll end up better because it's like trying to make it scarier. So I guess that's worse to some people. But yeah, Michelle, that scares me. It says that scares me when I listen to it at night with the lights off. Yeah, like the jingle itself, it's scary. Like yeah, scary. Like it's a you probably haven't heard the true scary story one. True scary story is like a I find it creepier, but maybe it's because it's new that I find it creepier. Let me see. Worry Operation 1886 joined. Hi, nice to see you here. Glad you're here. We're just ending the stream. I don't know if you were here earlier, but glad you're here. Since you made it, in case you're interested, we had a code word for a free sticker or also entering into a random selection for either a shirt or a mug or something like that. All you have to do is email me, DM me, send me a message saying that you were here and the code words called Rotten Strawberry. You just let me know, you'll get your free sticker. No, you don't have to pay shipping. You don't have to pay anything. Sends internationally. Just as long as a mailman or mailwoman or delivery service can get you something to your place, it'll send. So just make sure you send me a message. Again, Rotten Strawberry, the code word. Find an email, go to the website, find it, form, whatever you have to do. I avoid scary stories at night in general. Oh no, you're doing it wrong, Serene. You got to listen to these at night because otherwise it's just not the right thing. Not the right thing to do. And last night I actually had a typical night for me. It was very normal. I went down to a cemetery at night around 8. Walked around with a tour guide, told some stories and legends of the place, the people that were buried there. We walked around the mausoleums, walked around the grave sites, the old ones, the old grave sites. Um, just listening to stories. So just a typical night. But yeah, also I was thinking instead of doing the whole just travel thing, I was thinking of doing a dark travel, like a dark tourism, dark travel thing. Like just take tours of haunted houses and stuff. Might be cool. I don't know. I don't really do a lot of that stuff, but it would be really cool to do. Let me see. Old school says sometimes I like stories of haunted hospitals. I also have a friend who used to work at a funeral home, and she used to tell the creepiest stories. Whoa! So I would like to hear from people like that. In case your friend wants to tell a story, let them know. Let them know. Because right now, oh by the way, like this is why I'm pushing it so hard because we need to get stories to keep the podcast going. If we don't have stories on True Scary Story, for that podcast, True Scary Story, it'll just like will be paused until we get a story. So right now, if you send me a story, the chances are high that we'll consider it, approve it, send you the forms, get you to record the phone call. Jesus, I don't do scary stories at night. I like peaceful nights. Well, oh, Ping is asking about urban exploration, like yeah, as a suggestion for like tourism, but I don't know. I like watching those videos, but I don't know. They do a lot of illegal trespassing, so I don't know if I would do that. Get in trouble just to get a story. I don't know. Hey, maybe we'll see. We will see. Oh, something froze. What froze? Me? Oh no. Okay, somebody was saying that. Let's maintain laws. Yes, always be proper. Never break the laws. Never break the laws. Let me see. She's Spanish, no English, but she may be up for it. Hey, this is old school asking, telling a story. But yeah, if it's in Spanish, I can record in Spanish. We can record in Spanish. Just let them know. I gotcha. Hmm. Cody, mailboy join. Cody, nice to see you here. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. It's water. Somebody's asking what this is. It's my skull water cup. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's cool. Thank you. Right? It's cool. Like, yeah, thank you. Yeah, when I saw it, I was just yeah, I had to have it. Pretty cool. Yeah, hopefully you guys can find it. I don't know if it's like a common thing, but there's also a skull out there with the hat. Pretty cool stuff. There's also a witch watching us here. Just making sure that everything's all right, off camera. production assistant. Yeah, I wish I could say it was something cool, but no, it's not. It's water. Good for you. You guys should drink some. Yeah, by the way, when I wanted to do that, when I was coming up with ideas to what am I going to talk about during the live stream, right? Aside finish the story of Creepy Diaries, it was a thing that I've been asked a lot, which is like a backstage type of thing, like a what's your setup like, what's all that stuff, and talk about it. But I was like, I don't know. I will see. But yeah, anyway, water is always a thing that I have with me when I record. It's like religiously, like it's just there with me. When you're talking in front of a microphone and you don't drink water, you sound a lot like something stuck in there, like gum. It sounds like that. Which, if you're interested in podcasting, we can talk about that too. But yeah, you need to be hydrated completely. Like, as in, it's better to take bathroom breaks than to have a dry mouth while you're recording. Like, it's better to just stop, go to the bathroom because you drank too much water than to not have enough. Yeah, Oscar, like, I'm glad you like the mug. Should, if you find it, let me know. Like, if you find it, so you can, because I would get another one, a second one, just in case they run out, because I'm pretty sure it was like a seasonal thing. Um, Halloween, you find a lot more like cool stuff to get. Like, good decorations for Halloween. Yeah, Pink says that can't find good decorations for Halloween. I look around. There's one of that I saw on a YouTube video that I wanted to get, is a circle of little kids that actually spin around singing "Ring Around the Rosie," and it's as creepy as it sounds. It's pretty creepy, like little children spinning around singing a song. Yeah, pretty creepy. Let me see. Do you watch? Oh no. Okay, sorry. Cap KAPB30 is asking. You watch the new Halloween? No, and I've been hearing so much about it, and I really should. I really should. Oh my! I've heard people that were disappointed. I would just want to. I want to watch it. So no spoilers, please. No spoilers. Please, 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 no spoilers. Let me see. You watched the new Halloween? Oh yeah, I read that question already. Like the face paint. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate it. Do you play games? No, you know what? I actually play games just to like get the hang, like to see what's going on, like what other people are playing. Like, for example, that's how I discovered Five Nights at Freddy's. The other game about the like a evil cat that's chasing people. It's like a mobile phone game. But no, I used to play games back in the day, and I'm a big fan of like The Legend of Zelda, and some of the classics, Super Mario, stuff like that. I like a lot of like Yoshi's Island was one of my favorite games when I was a kid. For Super Nintendo, imagine that. So that's a while ago. Thanks for the advice. Absolutely. Let me see. Serene says my family is a hater to all things scary, so I can't convince them to buy anything scary. I feel you. One time I came in with a like a stuffed animal, like a snake, and yeah, my mom threw it out when I was a kid. That was bad. Serene says the original Mario's and Zeldas are better. I don't know. I haven't played the new ones, but I really like the old, Link to the Past Zelda. I like even some of the other ones that came out for Wii. Really cool stuff. Let's see them eyes. Just joined. Hi. Glad you're here. We're just ending the stream. I don't know why we're doing. I guess we're just hanging out now. Scary pod games. Streaming gory. Yeah, you know what? My style of naming is very basic. Like, just scary pod. Let's see. Scarygames.com. But yeah, I love that. Yeah, Super Nintendo was the coolest for me. I really like that. But yeah, if we could have, like, we can actually, Oscar was saying about, streaming horror games and things. Scary.fm has a lot of room for anything that we want to do. So if you have an idea for the website, if you want add links for streams, if you want, I don't know, you have your own stories that you typed up, we can probably get them on that website, scary.fm. I just want it to be like a central hub for like scary stuff. Phasmophobia is a good ghost hunting game for PC. Interesting. I heard a lot about Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2. It's an old game. I think it's for PlayStation. But yeah, really want to play that. But anyway, yeah, Old School's out. All right, cool. Have a good night, and thank you for Old School for showing up here. Um, Happy Halloween. Where your operation? What's better, Xbox or PlayStation? I don't know. You know what? I used to have only not. I never had either. I only played PlayStation games from my neighbors when I was growing up. I never owned PlayStation. My cousins used to have PlayStation, and that's where I used to play. So I just know that. Is that what that has the Grand Theft Auto games, right? It's PlayStation, I think. Yeah, I used to play that too back in the day. But yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, I think I should call it a night too. We went half an hour over, but again, like, oh, hold on, one question. Any of the stories yours? Mystical things asking any of the stories I'm not sure if I cleared it up here already. Scary Story Podcast, all the stories that are on Scary Story Podcast, that show, are written by me. I write all those stories. They're either based on true tales, through true experiences that either I had or other people had, but they're all written by me, like as in nobody said, hey, publish this story, and then I publish it. If it's a story like that, then I publish it on the website. But stories that show up on there, they're all written by me. So like when any story that it's on there that somebody dies, I kill them. Like, it was my thing. Um, True Scary Story, though, True Scary Story is a storyteller, like first person storyteller. So like if you have a story, they record it, that gets narrated on there. But yeah. But yeah, anyway, so glad you guys were able to make it here for this live stream. Now I need to try to get the skeleton paint off somehow. Maybe just stay with it till tomorrow since it's Halloween already. But in some places. But anyway, let me see. Yeah, rotten strawberry sounds strange. But yeah, remember, yeah, don't forget about that. Send me the email or a message or something with rotten strawberry. You get your free sticker, chance to enter, get a free shirt, just randomly selected. Maybe all of you will get it, depending if how many emails we get. One per household, but if you have kids that are watching or something, and you say, hey, they're gonna fight if they don't get it, let me know. Don't cheat, don't lie. you know. Anyway, all right, guys. Let me see if I can end on here. We're gonna end YouTube first. Thanks a lot, you guys, for showing up, and until next time, thank you very much for listening. Take care, you guys. Bye. All right, we're just working on ending for